Hey, it's Rob Jiggler and we are at Savuti campsite in Botswana. Savuti campsite's about 160 kilometers southwest of Kasane, still in the Chobe National Park and in the Savuti Marsh area. Now we've driven here from Kasane. It's just over 160 kilometers of road travel, of which about 68 kilometers is fairly deep sand. So you do need a four-wheel drive to get here. There are some sections of that sandy road that I think would be impossible to traverse without a four-wheel drive. There's a couple of people on the campsite that have arrived here with trailers, mostly off-road trailers, so you definitely can get here with a trailer. But take note that you're going to be pulling a significant load through fairly deep sand, so obviously you need a vehicle that's capable of doing that if you're coming here with a trailer. I don't think you can come here with the conventional caravan, but certainly an off-road caravan you probably could make it here. Again, your vehicle has to be capable of bringing that through the sand. Be prepared for a long drive. It's 160 kilometers. You know, if it was all tarred road, you probably do that in 2 hours or so. The dirt road section, the 60-kilometer dirt road section itself, is going to take you 2 hours or more. We took almost 2.5 hours to get to the campsite via that sandy road. There are some portions when you're going to go very slowly. That includes, of course, stopping at the main entrance and then stopping at the office as well to quickly check in. So that could account for some of that time, but difficult to average more than about 40 kilometers an hour comfortably. If you try and go faster than that, you're probably putting yourself potentially in a bit of danger, but it's also going to be very uncomfortable with jumping up and down over all those little humps in the dirt road. It's pretty much a narrow track as well, and it's kind of a one-way traffic situation. So if there is a car approaching from the other side, then you do have to pull off of the tracks into what could be quite deep sand. So it's quite easy to get stuck in that manner as well. So definitely have a four-wheel drive if you want to come here. We put our tire pressure down to about 1.4 bars, and that worked very well for us. And that generally works very well for us in these types of situations. Of course, you've got to do what's right for your tires and your vehicle. There's no electricity here, and there's no lighting either. There's no water in the campsite. There used to be water at the campsites, as you can see by the fact that there are concrete blocks here written water on them with a pipe sticking out at the bottom. However, all of those taps have been removed and there's no water coming out of those pipes, and I suspect it's because of elephants coming into the campsite, which can be quite a dangerous situation. There's a braai stand at each campsite, nice little drum with a grid on top of it, so that's quite convenient to have. In addition to that, there are concrete work surfaces, so you can put your food on top of there, whatever stuff that you're using that you want to keep off the ground, and there's also a concrete plinth around that. In addition to that, there is also a nice concrete fire pit, which I love having a campsite with a fire pit. It always adds a great ambiance to the site when you've got a fire going at night, especially here because it's an unfenced campsite. So the fire does give you a bit of comfort at night, knowing that the lions are quite close and certainly within earshot a lot of the time. There's a dustbin at each campsite. We have a wonderful campsite, really nice shade. There's a massive tree right in the middle of the campsite that gives you shade throughout the day. There are quite a few campsites that have a similar setup and then one or two that have sparse shade, but generally the shade is very good. This is a pretty sandy area. The campsites themselves are sandy too. There's no grass on the campsite, so that's all been cleared away. So it's a sandy surface. I suspect that if it rains, you won't get any mud here because it is all very silty material. So from that point of view, the campsite is great. I think if it does rain, you're not going to have any significant issues insofar as getting in a sort of dirty, muddy situation going is concerned. Having said that, of course, if it does rain, be careful about drainage as well. The water should percolate fairly quickly, but I think when you get to the campsite, like what we've done here in the rainy season, is we've tried to put our tent up on the high ground. There is a little bit of a dip within the campsite itself, and I can imagine that if you have really heavy rain or a torrential downpour, that you could have quite a bit of water pooling in there and damming up. The unfortunate thing about this fine silty sand is that it gets into everything, but that comes with the territory. Our campsite's about 20 meters by 20 meters. The rest of the campsites are a little bit larger generally. I think that you could easily fit 4 vehicles and 4 tent setups here. More than that might be a bit crowded. I don't know what the maximum number of people per campsite is, but certainly for our setup where we've got 1 vehicle and 1 tent, there is plenty of space. The campsites are well spaced. The adjacent campsite to us is probably about 40 or so meters away with bush in between. So it does feel quite private, and we're right on the edge as well with the last campsite, so that's also nice. So we don't have anybody surrounding us. The other campsites of course have other camps surrounding them, but again always separated by bush, and you generally can't see to the next campsite, with the exception of our campsite where the bush is a little bit more sparse than some of the other areas. Ablutions, showers, basins, toilets, hot water, cold water. We haven't experienced the hot water at all. There are solar geysers. It has been quite hot, but we haven't had any hot water, so not sure what the situation is there. They did run a generator a couple of times, I think, trying to heat up the water, but we didn't get the benefit of it. There are only 2 showers per facility, and so it might get a little bit crowded in there at peak shower time, so at sunset to sunrise, for example. Certainly yesterday evening, my significant other had 4 people in front of her at the ladies' bathroom, so it took a while for her to get a shower done. But you know, I think that's kind of not unusual with this type of setup, and generally what I try to do then is to go and shower outside of those peak hours. There's also a washer facility with 3 basins and hot and cold water. Again, hot water in theory, but we don't seem to be getting access to the hot water. But otherwise the facilities are really nice. The bathrooms are really nicely set up, always clean, in really good condition, nice tiled floors. They have done a really good job with setting up the bathrooms. The bathroom area also has a wall enclosure to keep out the wildlife and the elephants and so on. So it does feel like quite a safe area to walk to in the night and walk from. It's just the distance between your campsite and the bathroom that maybe is a bit risky in terms of a possible encounter with an elephant, for example. So lots of elephants coming through the sites. We've also had a hyena come through our campsite twice now in 2 of the nights that we're here. We can hear the lions close by, they're always within earshot, so there is quite a bit of wildlife going around, and impala as well. There's a kiosk here with some very basic purchaseables, some drinks, water, wood, a couple of snacks and so on. So you largely have to bring most of what you need with you when you come camping here. There isn't a significant area to shop close by. The nearest place is Kasane, and that is possibly a 4-hour drive away, even though it's only 160 kilometers. So take note of that, that's very important. You can't buy much here besides ice, wood, water, basic drinks, basic snacks. Note that the kiosk is not open the entire day. It opens at 10 a.m. and then closes at lunchtime, and then opens after lunch and is open until 7 p.m. So it's not open the entire day. There's no fuel here, so you've got to come with sufficient fuel. Of course, take note, if you're driving on that sandy road, your fuel consumption is going to be relatively high, so you need to be prepared for that. There's no Wi-Fi, at least not for the guests. There is Wi-Fi for official purposes for the staff, but there is no Wi-Fi accessible to people camping at the site. There's absolutely no cell phone signal here. In the entire time that we've been here, we haven't had a single bar of cell phone signal. There's a restaurant, but it's not operating at the time that we are here, possibly because we're here in the middle of the rainy season, maybe not as popular a time as the dry season. Gate times in the summer while we're here, pretty much like the rest of the Chobe National Park, 5:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. The campsites are pre-assigned, which is something that I really like. I prefer to know that my campsite is assigned, and so no matter what time I arrive at the campsite, my campsite is there. And also it means that there's no encroachment and etc. So I really like that, and I wish that more camping areas would do that. What to do here? Wildlife. That's basically what it's about. Quite a bit of wildlife that comes into the campsite, so you can sit here and see quite a bit of wildlife. But obviously we're in the Chobe National Park, and so it's really about exploring the park and enjoying the wildlife. And if you're not familiar with the sounds of elephants and lions, then this is a good place to become familiar with that, because at night they're very vocal and we heard a lot of elephant altercations maybe, and certainly some very vocal lion pride roaring and declaring war and whatever it means when they roar at each other. We've had great interactions with all of the staff here. The campsites are well kept, very clean, it's all clear. The bathrooms are always clean, very helpful interactions with the staff, getting ice and getting information, etc. So I think the campsite in general is very well managed. So bathrooms get cleaned first thing every morning. Ash and rubbish gets collected from your campsite every morning at around about 10 a.m. is what we've experienced. So it seems to be a well-run ship in general. All of the facilities are in good working order, nothing's broken. So yeah, no complaints at all in that respect. It looks like a really well-run place. Except the hot water. No hot water, even though in theory there should be hot water. It's not really an issue though, because it is so hot and humid here, you actually don't miss the hot water. How to book? A little bit difficult booking Botswana. That's been our experience. The different campsites, different camping grounds, if you want to call it that, are managed by different agents. It's not easily done online. I have left the details below for your convenience. This is unfenced. It's an unfenced campsite. It's a Big 5 national park, and these animals do come into the camping area. We've had a hyena here, one hyena on each occasion, 2 nights while we're here. The elephants are up and down and through the campsite as well, and impala and so on and so forth. So it's an unfenced campsite, so take note of that. It's really hot and humid here in the summertime while we're here. Apparently it's even hotter in the dry season, although probably not as humid. So one of the things to take note of here is it's quite easy to get dehydrated. So if you're coming here at any time of the year, make sure that you're prepared in that respect. So what type of camper is this campsite for? I think most people can camp here. However, you need a 4x4 to get here, number 1. Number 2, you must be able to camp without electricity and without lighting. Number 3, you've got to bring all your stuff here. You are going to have a very difficult time going to fetch anything anywhere because it's a long drive to get here. And obviously it's an unfenced campsite. So if that's not for you and you're concerned with lions and stuff roaring at night while you sit in your tent, then it may not be for you. I think it's absolutely fantastic and we love that aspect of it. So what is here? Braai stand, surfaces to work on, a fire pit, a little concrete area where you can put stuff as well. Very nice shade, nice clear campsite, silty but no grass. Lots of privacy, very nice from that point of view. Lots of wildlife coming through the campsite as well, so feels very nice from that aspect as well. And there are ablutions with hot and cold water, showers, toilets, basins. There is a kiosk as well. You can get ice, you can get wood, you can get drinks, you can get basic snacks. There's also a wash-up area at the ablutions facility. What's not here? No electricity, no lighting, no water at the campsite itself, absolutely no cell phone signal, and no fences. So would I recommend Savuti campsite? Of course I would. It's been wonderful being here. We love this kind of camping. It's far from everywhere. It's a long drive to get here. There's no noise except for a generator that runs until about 9 o'clock at night, but it's a distance off. There's good privacy. It's easy to get out of the campsite into the park and go look for wildlife. We've had some great sightings as well. So from that point of view, I would definitely recommend this campsite. However, of course, you've got to be the kind of person that can get here first of all with the right vehicle, and secondly, be prepared to camp where it's unfenced and there's animals wandering through. And of course, there's a couple of amenities like electricity and no cell phone coverage, etc., that you won't find here. So all of those things considered, fantastic campsite, and I highly recommend it. Hope you found this informative. Hope you liked the episode. Certainly hit the like button. Leave a comment or question below if you have anything. It's always great to hear feedback from you guys. positive as well as recommendations on how we could improve the channel and what you want to see too. If you'd like to support the channel completely voluntary, there is a super thanks facility as well as a buy me a coffee facility, all in the links below. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed. Appreciate your support. Keep watching the channel, keep interacting with me. And until the next episode, go everywhere, see everything, have a great time.